How did I end up like this? I asked myself, already knowing the answer to that question, but the very act of articulating those words allowed me to reflect upon my existence in a more concise manner, as if asking myself questions about things that have already happened somehow tricks my brain to thinking about them from a different perspective, as if they're not actually happening to me, but to someone else. What is real? There is no real way to actually answer that question. Are we all nothing more than players in a game? If so, I don't think I want to be real. I'm quite fine with being fake. In fact, being fake is of more value than the real thing. In the deliberate attempt to be real, one becomes more real than the real thing. I was born on Kalamador in a small valley of Mulgore. My father was a poor merchant in debt to a wealthy and respected Grim Totem known to us as Lanathar. When I was very young, I was told that it would be a great honor to serve him as part of our servitude to the Horde. I was forced from my home and acted as Lanathar's bodyguard for years. I don't remember how long. One day, a group of renegade orcs broke into the place, looking for guns, precious gems, anything to sell. Of course, there was nothing of value. The Grim Totem don't usually keep such items like that on display. They killed my master, and I was grateful. So grateful. Lanathar had never mistreated me, had never been anything less than kind and polite, but I hated him. One of the orcs brought me along as a pet of sorts. I learned how to survive, be quick on my feet and resourceful. They taught me how to use basic weapons, but only enough to keep me alive during our confrontation. I became good friends with one of the orcs. He was resourceful, brave, and had confidence in his abilities. It was only a matter of time before he became the leader of our renegade band. Under him, we were successful and well off. After a few years of leading the band, Nazgrim left one day to help with the Horde's campaign on Northrend. With Nazgrim's departure, we decided to run things as they'd always been, with a group effort with no leaders. As a group, we decided to do a risky job and try and take an alliance ship passing by Ratchet. In the dead of night, we invaded, but they knew we were coming. They were well prepared and had lookouts posted 24/7. Looking back on it now, it seems obvious, but we didn't know. Our whole gang was wiped out and I barely survived and drifted ashore a few days later. I was filled with nothing but pain and trepidation. I decided to lose myself in the drink, spending years on end in that bar, suffering torment and humiliation one after another, but I did not care. As long as I can continue to drink away my sorrows, I was content with being just a meatbag taking up space. I spent a few years down at Ratchet doing odd favors for a troll named Tazan before I ended up settling in Orgrimar. How does one truly know they're happy, I asked myself. The only time I felt alive was during that brief space of time with the renegade leader. I wonder what became of him. Would I ever see him again? The thought of that stirred something inside of me like I had never felt before. For the first time in years, I had a reason to wake up in the morning. Existence seemed to be slightly less tedious. I worked on myself, building up strength and stamina with my axe until I was a force to be reckoned with. It was around this time that my environment started changing. Orgrimmar was becoming increasingly segregated. Trolls were kicked out of the orcish parts and forced into the slums. People who opposed the new laws went missing in the night. The air of unease was palpable as the days dragged along. Despite the years of torment by the citizens, I tried helping these people, but I was no match for the Korkron. I was tortured for who knows how long. I was ready to die at any moment when I was rescued. A band of misfit rebels of all races had broken through the front gate and killed all the guards up to my stay. They handed me my axe and asked for my help in navigating the chasms below. There were no live, beating hearts in that place. Just fire, emptiness, and blood. I swallowed a mouthful of fear and flexed my fingers around the hilt as I looked around the hanging bodies of the former warlock trainers, each one with a sign hanging from their necks stating that all traitors must die. This is where I could be rebuilt. Not repaired. No, never fixed. The pieces would not fit back together after shattering of such devastating proportions. As we worked our way through the waves of Korkron guards, we approached the entrance to the secret underground chamber Garrosh had been working on over the past year. And there, at the last line of defense, was Nazgrim. I tried reasoning with him. The Nazgrim I knew would never conform to such atrocious ways. But he would not waver in his conviction. No more a helpless child, I would be as cold and unfeeling as space itself, my heart a void and my hands steady as I killed. With the death of Nazgrim, a part of me died as well. I now find myself floating in the river of despair, thinking of the nature of reality, whether or not the idea of being fake is actually better than the real thing.